Hello and welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton, and welcome back to the Toffee Blues Podcast. I'm joined by Max as ever. How you doing, Max?
Yeah, feeling good after on the back of the win. So looking forward to talking about Everton for once.
Yeah, exactly. It's always better after a win, isn't it? And I think we're all still, riding the wave a little bit of what was a really good day. I thought terms of an away day, it's probably one of the better ones we've had for a while. Like I say, it's the first. It was the first away win that we've got all year. And obviously, we were speaking last week about just how important it was to get a result in this one with the fixtures going ahead. And obviously, you were speaking last week about how going into it you weren't feeling particularly confident, really. So I guess on the day, obviously. We were hoping that maybe Brantford was going to be back in the side, and obviously the lineup comes up and he's not even in the squad. Obviously Mangala was dropped as well and put on the bench. A lot of people at the time thought that was going to be a mistake. So, yeah, what like was that feeling only really intensified ahead of kickoff? Would you say?
To be honest, yeah, I had that feeling of it was going to be a tough game, and even looking at the lineup, I kind of expected it, so it never really changed the feeling of how the game was going to go. But if I'm being honest with you, I thought it was really comfortable, a really comfortable 3 points, and it was. It started off a bit frantic where they had that early. We had an early chance, and they had an early chance with Jack. It was a Jack Clark when he put one over the bar or wide or whatever. And I was thinking, we need to quiet down this crowd, and stay tight and sit together. But I thought it was a thoroughly professional performance, and it's one of the few times where I looked at the game, watched the game, was thinking we're a level above these, and we could pretty much do what we want. Really, I thought we should have been more clinical at times, but you can't really complain. 2-0 away win away from home. It was an important 3 points, and we got the job done, didn't we?
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. I think we spoke about how it was kind of going to be one or two games really, and that a sort of like frantic game in which they could feed off the atmosphere and gain confidence in that way was kind of exactly what we didn't need. And I think, as you say, I think after those first few minutes where there was a few end-to-end chances, wasn't there? Calvert-Lewin had the one early on as well when he was through on goal, probably should have scored. And then obviously, as you say, the Jack Clark chance as well, hitting us on the break. I think when it was kind of frantic like that, like that was kind of worrying a bit for us. But as you say, after that, we kind of settled things down a lot more and as you say, really took control of the game, particularly in the first half, I thought. And as you say, I thought as you say, there was really only one team in it for especially in the first half. And as you say, we really made them look like a newly promoted side, whereas we had, clearly a lot more experience and handled the game very well, I thought. And as you say, took the chances very well. So yeah, obviously it was two very pleasing goals, wasn't it? Another good goal for Ndiaye, really well taken strike, and obviously then the most clinical player on the pitch somehow, Michael Keane, bagging another one as well. So yeah, like I say, it was a very pleasing first half in particular, wasn't it?
But yeah, it really was, and for all the hard work that we say we're a Dyche team, is that we scored some good goals as well. We played some decent football. I thought McNeil's been instrumental in that middle, and the way he picked out Michael Keane. I mean, there's not many players in our team that could bring that down and go past, move the ball away from 2, 3 defenders before making that pass. So that was obviously pleasing to see, and then to see it and die get a second goal of the season, I think it is. In the league anyway. Obviously, the last one against Leicester. I mean, sharp to the loose ball, and we sort of capitalised on their naiveness in a way, and it was good because you don't get many chances in the Premier League, but against Ipswich we did get those chances and we took them. Obviously, I thought Calvert-Lewin led the line really well, but obviously didn't finish his chances. But it was really pleasing. And Michael Keane, we say he's the best finisher in the squad, but yeah, that was he's scored some absolute belters, hasn't he, in the last few years. To be fair to him, and important goals as well, especially that one against Palace.
Yeah.
But we can. He's got a great finisher and he can strike a ball for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the most positive things for me so far this season is we seem to be taking our chances a lot better than we were last season anyway. We're definitely scoring a lot more. And when we have periods of dominance, we tend to be scoring a bit more now. Obviously, as you say, Calvert-Lewin is a little bit the outlier with that. Almost certainly should have scored at least once on Saturday. Probably should have got more. Had two golden opportunities, capitalising on mistakes, as we discussed in the in last week's podcast that. There was bound to be because of the way Ipswich play, and you could tell we were alive to that. Unfortunately, they tended to fall to Calvert-Lewin, who again isn't looking the most confident in front of goal as is all too familiar a story. Really, it's frustrating because, as you say, I thought he had a really good game. Apart from that, and obviously, people will say he's a striker. His job is to score goals, but I think in a team like ours, he does do a lot more than that, and I think it often kind of goes underappreciated when he's not scoring, when he's not firing. So obviously, in an ideal world, you'd like to be getting more goals out of him. But as I say, there seems to be a few more goals in the overall squad now. As I say, McNeil is getting a few, and Dye's scoring, and like I say, I think we do seem to have a little more confidence now in some of our players are just taking those chances, which is a harder thing to coach than I think you'd imagine it is really. So that's definitely been pleasing. And then obviously in the second half, it was a case of after a while, kind of sitting on what we had after a while. And again, I think that was where everyone started to get a little bit more nervous once we allowed Ipswich into the game a bit more. And if they just nicked one goal, I think we were all of that and on the back of our minds a little bit. Oh, it's another 2-0 lead. Is it going to happen again? Because that was particularly in those circumstances, it would have been a real sickener, throwing that away down at Ipswich. But we looked a lot more solid. I thought that the whole defence had a very good game, and like I say, it's starting to look a lot more like the defence we were used to last season, even without Brantford, I'd say, which is definitely a positive thing. Don't know what you made of that.
Yeah, well, like you said, it was very much a performance of last season where we'd go one or two up front, mostly one half the time, but I mean, sort of like rest on that and defend the box very well. And we did defend the box very well. I think it probably helped that Ipswich were didn't move the ball quick enough, and they didn't have that cutting edge. But at the end of the day, you can only play what's in front of you, and we were very solid. Um, yeah, I don't think you can have any. I thought Michael Keane has played relatively very well in the last few weeks. I think he's had solid performances. The only thing with Keane is when he makes mistakes, it seems like big mistakes. Do you know what I mean? So he does become somewhat deserved and somewhat not become a bit of the scapegoat. But yeah, it was reminiscent of a Dyche side last season, and those are the positive signs. But I'd also say that we had the opportunities and the sort of like the quality of possession. So we should have finished off the game in that second half, and we didn't. But we got the job done in the first half, really, and I think the players knew that. And they were pretty much comfortable all game. For that Liam Delap was trying his best to ruffle the feathers a bit, but Tarkowski and Keane, dealt with him in the end, and he didn't cause any damage, did he? So he can throw around his elbows all he likes.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That was a bizarre one, wasn't it? And yeah, like you say, you talk about, Michael Keane being a scapegoat, and I think, similar one is Ashley Young, often comes under criticism, like for even the most minor of mistakes. But he's not really been given those particular fans any real opportunity the last few weeks. I think he's been really solid. Um and yeah, like I say, I think that's been a big positive for us because obviously, we have been struggling in that area this season. James Garner's still out. Coleman and Patterson were back on the bench, but clearly weren't ready to be started or even given minutes at the end there. And like I say, I thought the game was managed particularly well as well. Obviously, Dyche's substitutions come under criticism a lot, but he's someone who doesn't just throw on players for the sake of throwing them on. And I thought, Mangala coming on towards the end just to settle things a little bit more was the right move really. And yeah, like I say, that does seem to be improving ever so slightly now. I'd say this game management, but yeah, I guess we'll see how that goes in the upcoming weeks. And yeah, obviously as well, Illiman and Dye was probably the main talking point on Saturday with his song, of course, doing the rounds in that away end. And it's crazy to me just how quickly he's won over the fans. And obviously he's one of those players. it's the players that fans love. Exciting player who can get the fans off their seats, and and seems to be really buying into the club very quickly as well, and seems really enthusiastic about being here. So yeah, it's proved to be a very good signing, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think in some ways, putting like something kind of like a negative spin on it, it just shows you how much this fan base has been starved of a player like that. Someone who just gets us off our feet and gets us excited about watching football again and watching Everton. Because it's like, you know, we had Bashar and he's becoming that sort of like talismanic sort of figure that we're kind of looking to. But yeah, he's just a breath of fresh air. It's not just his attacking ability. He works hard off the ball. He doesn't seem to have any attitude. He's passionate. You can tell in the celebrations when he's looking at the fans, and he's only going to go from strength to strength. And he's definitely an asset. And to have him for 5 years, it's a great deal for what we bought for him, like 15 million. And you think like years gone by when we've had the likes of maybe Mike Gray, who was technically very good, didn't work hard as like a Iliman and Die, and Iliman Die seems to be getting the numbers at the minute. So long may it continue. And he's only, if he carries on the way he is, he's only ever just going to be loved by Everton fans, and one day he's probably going to break our heart. So yeah, he's an absolute brilliant signing, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd say, as you say, with someone like Damari Gray, the frustration was that it just wasn't consistent enough. He'd have good little patches, and then he'd go missing for a few games. And obviously, it's still very early days of him died. It may very well be the case that there are sometimes like games where he struggles, but I don't know. For me, I think there's so much that he offers us. I think he's always going to have a use, and just having a player like that on the pitch means that even in a game where we're really struggling and up against it, that having a player on the pitch who can just produce a moment of individual magic and make something happen is, as you say, is something that we just haven't had for a few seasons now. And when we're behind in games, there's been that kind of sense of hopelessness, really, that there's just no one in on the bench or whatever who can come on and change the game. And having someone like Ndai means that is always going to be at the very least a very uh vague possibility, which, as I say, is a major positive to have, I'd say. Um, and then yeah, obviously, games coming thick and fast now. Looking ahead to Fulham on the weekend. As you say, it's a good run of fixtures, I'd say, that we're in at the moment. And as we discussed last week, on our day, we could probably beat any of the teams that we're playing in our next few fixtures. And we're probably going into this game in a bit of a better frame of mind really than Fulham. Obviously, Fulham started the season very well, but are coming into this now on the back of two defeats. Their record at Goodison has been a little better in the last few seasons, but historically, that is a ground that they've struggled at. So I think they're definitely there for the taking on Saturday. Don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Well, yeah, exactly. They're my thoughts as well. They are there for the taking, and we should take those opportunities, because we touched on it last time we were speaking. We said how the Ipswich game would be a springboard for further positive results in this sort of running. And we've won that game last weekend, 2-0, comfortable game really. And you got to think, in front of the home fans now, we've got to make sure we harness that sort of positivity and stick it right on for them. To be honest, we can't be going to that game on the weekend and be sitting off. I feel like for me, we have to do exactly what we did at Ipswich and make sure we get those goals early on, and then we can maybe relax and defend the lead. But yeah, the good feeling needs to carry on, because Fulham are there for the taking. They're a good footballing side. They can punish it. Don't get me wrong, but they're not. They're definitely there for the taking on the weekend. And in front of at home at Goodison Park, we should be beating Fulham. We should be beating Fulham.
Yeah.
What year it is? Yeah. The only thing is, I wish that Anthony Robinson was playing for us. But yeah, that was something that we let him go when we shouldn't have. But I'm quite confident moving into it, and yeah, I'm expecting a win. I'll be disappointed for anything less than a win, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. As I say, Saturday did just feel like, I don't know, there's just something about it that just felt like a really positive experience. And I don't know if it's, like I say, it just seemed like a really good away day for those supporters, 3,000 traveling down to, a ground that they haven't been to a long time, and just getting a really worry-free performance really. We don't really have many of those like the last few years where, obviously there would have been nagging thoughts in the back of all of our minds because it's Everton, but they would have been a lot it would have been a lot easier to dampen down than in most matches. And I think, as you say, with the die factor as well, I do think there is a real sense of positivity around and going into this game, and of course you've also very likely got the boost that Brantford's probably going to be coming back into the side. You'd like to think anyway. It's obviously a bit of a talking point going into this week. With it being revealed that Tarkowski's actually been struggling a little bit fitness wise, like since the start of the season. And as we touched on, Keane, in a way, really, probably being one of our better players this season. I know, a lot of people will be going, well, 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 calm down, calm down. But I actually think on the level of performances he's had this season, um, if you take the Tarkowski captain factor out of it, you probably make a case for Tarkowski being the one dropped. I really, not exactly saying that's what I do, but I can totally understand the argument. So yeah, don't know what your thoughts are on this
Yeah,
debate.
yeah. I think I totally get your point of view, and in some ways, I do kind of agree with that. It's just the fact that you know, Keane's. I feel like it's harsh to drop him now, isn't it? Because he's played well the last few games. Don't get me wrong. And Keane's always had a solid game with him. He's always had a solid game with him. So he's very much a player. He might have 2 games where he does really well, and then the next game he'll, give away 2 penalties or something like that. That's what it feels like sometimes. I know that's over the top, but yeah, I feel like it would be very harsh, and I feel like it would be quite not bad for his confidence if he was dropped out the side again, because I feel like it's been sort of expected and sort of justified that Brantford's come straight into the side previous seasons, like last season and even this season, to be honest, because we were struggling with conceding goals. But it's hard, isn't it? Because you don't want to brush Brantford as well, but he is our best defender, and we are a better team with him. I mean, there's no denying that, is there? And it's kind of easy to just go for the partnership of Tarkowski with Brantford and that worked last season. But maybe it might be a case where Tarkowski might need to come out the side because of his injuries and that. Because if he's not playing at 100%, maybe it is Michael Keane that deserves the opportunity. But then you can also argue that Michael Keane has had opportunities for so many years at the club now, has never really kept his place. And there's a reason for that, which is true. But I like Keane. I like the fact that he's always worked hard. He's proud to represent the club. It's just a shame that he does have those mistakes in him where, fans can easily turn on him because sometimes those mistakes are horrendous and it's like, oh my God. But yeah, it is a tough one today for Dyche, but when's it not tough for Dyche at the minute?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he's kind of acknowledged in his presses the last few weeks that he probably rushed him in a little bit for Crystal Palace, and obviously with him picking up the injury in training the week after, kind of suggests that probably was probably the wrong decision on his part, really. And it's something that we've seen before when he first came into the side. He was patient with Calvert-Lewin's recovery, which is something that both Benitez and Lampard before him just hadn't been doing. And as soon as Calvert-Lewin was even remotely ready to play, thrust back in because we needed him. But Dyche was patient and made sure that once Calvert-Lewin came back to the side, he was like fully fit and raring to go. And he's never really looked back in a sense. He's picked up a few little injuries here and there, but I think we got like 30 games out of him last season, which would have seemed almost impossible before Dyche came in. So, like I said, I think it'll be a case of if Bramford only coming in if he's fully ready, and I think Tarkowski and Keane have probably proved themselves now in the last few games, 2 clean sheets on the bounce. That maybe it's a partnership that's growing and is a good backup option. But like you say, if Bramford is definitely ready to play, then he has to because he is our best defender, undoubtedly, and probably one of the best players in the side. So having him back gives a massive boost to the supporters as well. We saw that when he came in against Palace, even if it did lead to that injury. And I think the main argument is that Bramford and Tarkowski is a partnership that we know works. We saw it last season so many times work really effectively. And it's probably just not worth the gamble of trying him next to Keane and seeing if that works when there's a perfectly solid partner already there for him. So I'd like to think if Bramford is definitely fit and definitely playing this Saturday, that it'll be Tarkowski next to him, our captain again. Probably would be the right decision. for all concerned. Um, so yeah, you spoke about being confident for this game. So can I get a score prediction for Saturday from you?
I'm going to go for one that I probably haven't gone for a while. I'm going to go for a 3-1 win.
A
3-1.
3-1. Blimey.
Bit of
Oh,
confidence in the veins, and Dyer's going to get one. Calvert-Lewin's going to bag. Let's go for a Tarkowski back post header.
yeah, it's much more confident feeling than last week then, definitely. I'd say. I can't remember. We don't score 3 goals very often. So uh,
Yeah, go on.
definitely be an interesting one. I think we're going to win as well. Do I have that feeling? I don't think probably maybe not as emphatically as that, but I think I'll just say a 1-0 really. Maybe, I think there'll be times where, Fulham are probably on top of us for a bit and we have to deal with them well. And then I think there'll be periods where maybe we're on top. We usually start games pretty well at Goodison, I'd find. So maybe like an early one and a lead that we kind of sit on at times and get an early goal and then just sit on that for large portions of the game and get the job done. Another nervy Goodison game for everyone. But if we get the result, then no one will be complaining. Um, but yeah, I think that basically just about wraps everything up. So as ever, we're gonna finish off on a lineup quiz. It's my turn this week to try and name all the players. Obviously, Max didn't have the best of weeks, best of times of it last week, but so yeah, pressure's off a little bit this time. Hopefully I can do a little bit better. But yeah, Max, if you want to take it away.
Yeah, okay. So this one's a Marcus Silva team. I'm not sure if we did the Marcus Silva team last week, was it? I think we might have. But yeah, so it's the 29th of September 2018 against Fulham, of course. And we won 3-0.
Hmm.
Have you got 3 minutes?
Okay.
I'll give you 10 to have a think. Go on, I'll get the timer up. So you got 3 minutes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Right, so I remember being at this game. I remember 3-0 win. Gylfi Sigurdsson definitely got two. So straight away I'll say Gylfi Sigurdsson. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then going back, we'll say Jordan Pickford in goal.
Yeah.
Luca Dean at left back.
Going
Uh,
well.
Seamus Coleman at right back.
Seamus Coleman was not at right back.
Oh, is he on the bench or? No,
Yeah, he was on the.
Okay, so no life lost, thank God. Kurt Zuma.
Kurt Zuma, correct.
Yeah, and Michael Keane next to him.
Yep.
Okay, right after leave right back, otherwise I'll get swamped in that. Adrissa Gay.
Yeah, played in midfield, of course.
Andre Gomez.
No, yeah, that's I lost. And Coleman wasn't in the squad either, so that's 2 life lost.
Oh, Christ. Okay. See, Tossen scored. I'm not entirely sure if he started. It might have been one of them where he came off the bench. Well, I know he's on the bench at least, so I'll say Cenk Tossen.
Yeah. Trent Tossen was in the squad, but he wasn't in the lineup.
Yeah, he didn't start. Okay. Okay, then I reckon it was maybe Richarlison up front.
Richarlison played on the wing.
Okay, on the wing. Okay, that helps. Would it have been Theo Walcott?
Yeah, played right wing.
Okay, and then would it have been Calvert-Lewin up front?
Yeah.
Right.
You got
So
Well,
just need the centre mid and the right back. How long have I got left?
you've got a minute and 10 seconds.
Oh, right.
3
Okay.
minutes.
But I've only got one life. So right, who would the right back have been if it wasn't Coleman? And the centre mid. Oh, I'm gonna guess Morgan Schneidlin.
He was in the squad.
Oh, okay. Centre mid. Who would that have been? Because it was mostly Gomez that season. Oh God, I'm panicking now.
30 seconds.
Oh, who would the right back have been, man? It's like Sadiba was the season after, so wasn't it him? Um, oh my God, I'm gonna panic here. Huh.
This was like me, but for all of the quiz last week.
Yeah. I've already beaten you, so that'll do for me. Um, Cuco Martina. I don't think it's him, but
Not Cuco Martina.
not Cuco Martina.
He wasn't in the squad either, so
No.
that's what I've gone. So you missed out on Tom Davis. Tom Davis.
Yeah.
And Big John Joe, right back.
John Joe
John Joe.
Kenny. Of course it was the youngsters. Missed it. Missed the Everton Academy graduates. That had such glorious careers here, but
That was a good
yeah,
effort.
yeah. Like I say, I remember the game very well. To be fair, like I say, I didn't go all the time during that era, but remember definitely being at that one. So uh,
You got a good memory for these lineups, I tell
yeah, like I say, I can usually remember the years about who was at the team when, which helps. To be fair,
you.
but yeah, a bit gutted about missing Davis in particular. Kenny was a hard one, but Davis
Yeah.
was yeah, probably should have got that. But yeah, there we go. That rounds things off then. Yeah, I say I'll definitely take 3-0 on Saturday. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, fingers crossed. Thank you very much for joining me, Max.
Yeah, no worries. I'm looking forward to Fulham, hopefully. Another win to talk about next week.
Yeah, fingers crossed, mate, definitely. And so yeah, please leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Comment below giving your thoughts. What do you reckon going into Saturday's match? And what have you made of all the stuff we've discussed on today's podcast? Make sure you subscribe to the Toffee Blues channel for more Everton content, and we will see you in the next video. Up the Toffees.